Good evening. Hello, it is IntellectualRadio.com. You are joining me, Lynn Sharif, the Wise Wife Radio Show. So happy to have you this evening. And I am going to drop some information about an article that I read that I think is so interesting. So I definitely want to talk to you about that. If anything, as you're hearing this, if it springs to mind and you want to talk about it, please do not hesitate to call me at 708-223-8953. Again, that's 708-223-8953. This is a really interesting article that I saw on CNN Health. And what it said is that according to the census data, the number of older Americans living alone is on the rise. There are nearly 16 million people aged 65 and older in the United States that are living alone in 2022. What's interesting about that is that that number is nearly 3 times as many people that lived alone 50 to 60 years ago. And there are a lot of reasons why that would happen, because back then women could not live on their own. They couldn't work, really couldn't be independent. But that, of course, has changed. There have been different attitudes towards marriage over the years. But as baby boomers are continuing to age, this number is expecting to grow even more. And there is a think tank down in Kentucky, and they're called the National Center for Family and Marriage Research. They're down there in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They identified one factor that is fueling this rise in the number of seniors that are in solo households. It caught them by surprise. And they actually, when they first stumbled upon it, they named it. But this trend is the rise in divorce rates among adults over the age of 50. This is something that used to be very rare, but it is becoming more and more common. And you may even be able to think of someone in your life that is over the age of 50 who has become or has gotten a divorce. So they have popularized the term gray divorce. Gray divorce, referring to your hair turning gray, to describe this phenomenon. What they said is that of all the people getting divorced, a full third of them who are getting divorced are now over the age of 50. And that's pretty sobering. If you are just joining us, I am talking about an article that appeared in CNN Health that talks about the census data and about the large number of Americans over the age of 65 that are living alone. But there is a think tank in Kentucky, National Center for Family and Marriage Research, who identified that one factor that is really fueling this, and this is the gray divorce, people over the age of 50 who are getting divorced. So that means that more and more people are going to be aging probably alone outside of marriage. And so you know that I'm here to promote marriage. There is going to be some good news in here, but I at least need to keep you up to date and keep you abreast on what's happening out there. If you know of a situation and you want to talk to me about it, please don't hesitate to call me, 708-223-8953. And this is Intellectual Radio. You're listening to me, Lynn, the Wise Wife, talking about this article. There's a divorce attorney in Houston who said that out of her decades of experience, she said a lot of people call it quits for a lot of different reasons. But she found that pandemic also caused this trend to, a lot more cases coming across her desk. She found that different perspectives on vaccines and politics, pandemic really seemed to push a lot of that to the forefront. And we also know that because pandemic caused you to be inside, maybe some things that were just brewing started to become more of an issue. So again, the divorce rates went up. And I completely understand that there are certainly some marriages that may have endured years of divorce. Or maybe there was some crazy discovery that just said, you know what, we can't go any further. So therefore, they get divorced. But I really want to challenge this concept, because a lot of people say, well, you know what, we just grew apart. We grew apart. And so that's why we got divorced. I really do believe that instead of saying that we grew apart, that we should say that we let go of each other. I believe that when you consider the things that you have to do to preserve your marriage, all of the work that goes into it, that list of things that you are willing to do grows longer and longer. And as a result, you just let go. And as that chasm gets even stronger, you may move into where you have more of a working relationship instead of a full marriage that brings both of you fulfillment. So what I'm asking is that if there is a shred there, I'm asking you to do the work now, so that you are not joining this ever-growing population of people who are quitting each other after the age of 50. And so if you just joined us, I'm talking about a CNN Health article that is talking about the huge number of Americans that are living alone, over 65, living alone. And there are some ramifications to that. So one of the things that is a big ramification of being an older person is the financial difficulties after your great divorce can be a problem. Because think about this. They're saying from the research that they have seen the standard of living drop significantly. And couple that with the fact that poverty rates in general tend to be higher with older adults. So that's very concerning. And why is this happening? Because you're cutting your nest egg in half. And what this think tank down in Kentucky, what they're saying about their research is that this survey allowed them to follow people for a decade or more. And what they saw was that there was no significant evidence of significant financial recovery. So divorce costs. It definitely costs. And keep in mind, too, we know that some folks that have your great divorce, for those who haven't heard, is a divorce over the age of 50. Some people may remarry, some people may move in with their family. But again, we're talking about the data, and they saw that 50% of the folks that are gray divorcing are still living alone. So another concern is who's going to care for this growing population? Who is going to care for this growing population? Another concern actually was brought up by an associate professor of sociology at Baylor University, and he actually studies aging and health, and he calls it a two-sided phenomenon. Yes, there are many people who are very happy to get their gray divorce, and they may have a huge appeal in having this newfound autonomy. You don't have to talk about taking out the trash or all the, who's loading the dishwasher, all the little squabbles that come up. Yes, you don't have to deal with that anymore. You're done. But his data is pointing to the fact that living alone, these people are reporting higher levels of loneliness across the board. And it's more pronounced later in life. Loneliness is a big deal. Pandemic, all of the things that are going on in our society, loneliness is a real issue. So I am talking about this article that is in CNN Health that is talking about the large number of Americans who are living alone, fueled by the people over 50 who are getting divorced. So this article is highlighting these people who've chosen to end this marriage. Know that I do this show because I want to encourage marriage. And I want to offer you practical tips on how to keep your marriage on track. I said earlier that I don't believe that people grow apart. I believe that it's just a decision, not necessarily, okay, I'm just going to let it go. It's these little things that you're choosing not to do, the effort that you're choosing not to put in. That in itself is a decision. It is a decision to let go. And then you look up all these years later, trying to figure out who on earth you're in this house with because they're a stranger. So what is a positive? What are some of the positive points that can come out of this article? What can we glean from it? One is connection. Strong social connections are important for all human beings because we are all social creatures. But in a happy and pleasing marriage, your partner, your spouse, can be your primary support, your primary emotional support and companion. Life is not always crazy. Sometimes it's just the mundane, but it's just the companionship. It's the companionship. And it's the emotional support that marriage can offer you. So connection is one positive thing. Number two, the people in this article who have gotten their gray divorce, yes, they have a fresh start. They have a fresh start. House is empty. But couples can actually do that together because who can you talk to? Either you've been married 6 months, 9 months, 20 years, 30 years. No one is the same as when they first got married. I used to be the mother of a toddler. I was a mother of a middle schooler, a mother of a high schooler. So we are constantly reinventing ourselves. We are constantly changing. The person that you were when you got married is not the person that you are now. And what marriage is supposed to be is having that support and encouragement to pursue new endeavors and new interests. So have a fresh start with each other. I'm a new person, so you get to rock with me as I become this new person. So that's a real twist on starting fresh. The third thing that marriage can give you is the stability and joy. Now, understand that we all know Frankie Beverly's song, right? It's joy and pain. I am not telling you that you get married and you're skipping off through the fields of flowers. No one is saying that. We all who are married know that it's joy and pain. That a successful marriage, though, can provide you some emotional support, stability, and it's just dealing with the joys and pains, the ups and downs together. So that stability and joy is definitely a point in the marriage column. And then last, the shared experiences, those ups and downs, you get a chance to experience them together. And that really is what helps to hold you together. We go through the loss of jobs, the gaining of jobs, your new house, our new baby, the loss of the job, the loss of family members. Those are all things that this is what this life is about. But it is wonderful to have a life partner who can really help to enhance that journey. It is wonderful to have someone by your side to make those memories with you. So bottom line, even though I was providing information about something that's not so wonderful, maybe wonderful for some, but the rising trend of gray divorces, people over the age of 50 who are getting divorced, there are some downsides too. We covered that, the finances, the loneliness potentially. And I then gave you 4 points on this is what marriage can give you. Marriage can give you shared experiences, stability, companionship, and connection. There are very unique strengths that come from that. And so I really want to be the resource to help you not let go, to help you stay connected. I even gave you, and it's been a couple of weeks since I talked about it, I even talked about one of the things you can do even through your phone, texting. And go back through your texts and see if there is something flirty, encouraging in your text messages to your spouse. You can just jot something out today. I am so glad to be married to you. You, my boo, we together. Text that. Trust me. Those are the little things just to make sure that you're not letting go. So I really appreciate you joining me. If you're listening to this on the replay, drop some comments into either Facebook or Instagram. And then as always, you are able to go on to YouTube and catch all of my past episodes. Just look up Lynn, the Wise Wife, and you will find it. So I really appreciate you joining. I will be here on next week, 7 p.m. on the intellectual.com, the Wise Wife Radio Show, Lynn Sharif. Take care. Bye now.
Special attention if she can queen. Love and caress her. Give her all